Here is the story of a young lady entering into her father's study, pulling out a wooden chair from under the rich, fine wood of the table. She pulled out a pen and some paper. As she sat down with a string and balloon on the table, like ritual, she began writing. Dear Patrick, I was then an only child who had everything I could ever want. But even a pretty, spoiled rich kid can get lonely once in a while, so when Mom told me that she was pregnant, I was ecstatic. I imagined how wonderful you would be and how we'd always be together and how much you always looked like me. So when you were born, I looked at your tiny hands and feet and marveled at how beautiful you were. We took you home and I showed you proudly to my friends. They would touch you and sometimes pinch you, but you would never react. When you were 5 months old, some things began to bother Mom. You seemed so unmoving and numb, and your cries sounded odd, almost like a kitten's. So when we brought you to many doctors, finally, the 13th doctor looked at you and quietly said that you have pre-Duchenne syndrome, cry of the kitten, in French. When I asked what that meant, he looked at me with pity and softly said, your brother will never walk nor talk. The doctor told us that it is a condition that afflicts 1 in 50,000 babies, rendering victims severely retarded. Mom was shocked, but I was furious. I thought it was unfair. When Mom went home, Mom took you in her arms and cried. I looked at you and realized that word would get around that you're not normal. So to hold on to my popularity, I did the unthinkable. I disowned you. Mom and Dad didn't know, but I stilled in myself not to love you as I grew. Mom and Dad showered you love and attention, and that made me bitter. And as the years passed, that bitterness turned into anger and then to hate. However, Mom never gave up on you. She knew she had to do it for your sake. Every time she would put toys down, you would roll to them instead of crawl to them. I would watch your heart break every time she took your toys away and strapped your tummy with foam so you couldn't roll. You struggled and you would cry in that pitiful way, the cry of the kitten. But she still never gave up on you. And then, one day you defied what all doctors said. You crawled. When Mom saw this, she knew you would eventually walk. So when you were still crawling at age 4, she would put you on grass with only your diapers on, knowing that you hate the feel of grass on your skin. Then she'd leave you there, and I would sometimes watch from the windows and smile at your discomfort. You would crawl to the sidewalk and Mom would put you back there into the grass. Again and again, Mom repeated this until one day, Mom saw you pull yourself up and toddle across the grass as fast as your little legs could carry you. Laughing and crying, she shouted for Dad and I to come. Dad hugged you, crying openly. I watched from my bedroom window at this heartbreaking scene. Over the years, Mom taught you to speak, read, and write. And from then on, I would sometimes see you walk outside and smell the flowers, marvel at the birds, or just smile for no reason at all. It was then I began to see the beauty of the world through your eyes. It was then that I realized that you were my brother, and no matter how much I tried to hate you, I couldn't, because I had finally grown to love you. During the next few days, we again became acquainted with each other. I would buy you toys and give you all the love that a sister could give to a brother, and you would reward me by smiling and hugging me. But I guess you were really not meant for us. On your 10th birthday, you felt severe headaches. The doctors diagnosed leukemia. Mom gasped, and Dad held her while I fought hard to keep my tears from falling. At that moment, I loved you all the more. I couldn't even bear to leave your side. Then the doctors told us that your only hope is to have a bone marrow transplant. You became the subject of a nationwide donor search. When, at last, we found the right match, you were too sick, and the doctors reluctantly ruled out the operations. Since then, you underwent chemotherapy and radiation. But even at the end, you continued to pursue life. Just a month before you died, you made me draw up a list of things you wanted to do when you got out the hospital. 2 days after the list was completed, you asked the doctors to send you home. There we ate ice cream and cake, ran across the grass, flew kites, went fishing, took pictures of one another, and let balloons fly just like we used to. I remember the last conversation we had. You said that if you died, and if I ever needed help, I could send you a note to heaven by tying it on the string of any balloon and letting it fly high into the sky. When you said this, I started crying. Then you hugged me. Then, again, for the last time, you got sick. That last night, you asked for water, a back rub, a cuddle. Finally, you went into a seizure, and I saw tears streaming down your face. Later at the hospital, you struggled to talk, but the words wouldn't come out. I know what you wanted to say, so I said, I hear you, I whispered. And for the last time I said, I will always love you, and I will never forget you. Don't be afraid. You'll soon be with God in heaven. Then with my tears flowing freely, I watched the bravest boy I had ever known finally stop breathing. Mom, Dad, and I cried until I felt as if there were no more tears left in me. Patrick was finally gone, leaving us behind. From then on, you were my source of inspiration. You showed me how to love and live life to the fullest. With your simplicity and honesty, you showed me a world full of love and caring. And you made me realize that the most important thing in life is to continue loving without asking why or how, and without setting any limitations. Thank you, my little brother, for all these gifts and lessons. When she finished that letter, she put the letter in the envelope and tied it to a string of balloons. Went outside and released it so that Patrick could finally rest in peace.